via email. And if I didn't get a computer and check emails, I wouldn't get the invitations to these school programs, so I said, I got to do it. And basically that's where I am at right now in computer technology, checking emails on a daily basis.
That's okay. So what do you do to keep this book alive?
Well, I've been on I do a lot of, as you know, public speaking. I go to different colleges. The 12th, the week from today, or yesterday, I'll be at Malloy College doing a program. I do programs on World War II. I do a program on Jewish and Italian Americans in peace and war. I do a program on World War I. So these programs, I will always have the opportunity to talk about the books that I've written, and that is, I think, a very important access for me. You know?
This is a question I ask most authors, if I remember to ask it and there's enough time. What do you get out of this? I mean, writing a book is not easy. Writing a book is a real, has to be a labor of love, or at least a labor of determination. So different people want different things out of it. What do you get out of this?
Well, I learned early on when you're writing the lesson that Albert Camus, the great French philosopher and existentialist philosopher, taught, that writing is an existential experience. That when you write a book, anything, I've written some book reviews, I've written some newspaper articles and so on and so forth. Many of them have been rejected, and you'd be surprised how many great books have been rejected. I mean, Anne Frank's diary was rejected by practically everyone, and her father, who was the only survivor.
Starting with the Nazis.
He's the only one who survived the Nazis. Her father, he spent years trying to get somebody to publish the diary of Anne Frank, until finally somebody did. The best example I could give you was John Kennedy Toole, who in 1958 wrote a book called Confederacy of Clowns. He spent 11 years trying to get it published. He was so despondent that in 1969 he committed suicide. But his mother refused to allow her son to die under those circumstances. So she took that manuscript, spent another 11 years scouring the country trying to get people. And finally, in 1980, the Louisiana State University Press, just to get her off their back, this professor said, all right, I'll read it. You get rid of her. He read it and said, this is good. And it was published in 1980, and it won the Pulitzer Prize in 1980. 22 years after it was written, 11 years after its author committed suicide. Now that is an existential experience. That when you write a book, there's no guarantee of success or promise of reward. So the reward has to come from the effort and what you put into it and what you think is worthy. Hopefully someday soon other people will think it's as worthy as you think it is, but it is an existential experience. Doing it, and the worthwhileness of it is engaging in the activity, not looking for a payoff or a promise of reward or success at the end of that.
Well, I think you're fortunate enough to be able to, you have venues where you can talk about the book. I find with my own books, just talking about the book and having somebody read it and say, I really liked that.
Yeah.
That was a really interesting book, or it was fun.
Yeah.
I think that's enough for me.
I agree with you. Saturday, there was a Christmas fair at Maria Regina Church in Seaford, and I was there, and it was an all-day affair, and I sold 12 books. And, well, okay, it's not great, but it's something, and it's something that knowing now that 12 other people are going to be able to read that, and maybe they'll talk about it and share it, and
they'll give it to somebody else.
And give it to somebody else,
Yeah.
So tomorrow night we'll be in Bell Harbor, Queens, for
Selling books.
Selling books.
We just have a few seconds left, actually, and I have this question for you. What advice do you have for budding authors?
First of all, you got to have a good story. You have to have a story that you are committed to, that you feel this story is worthwhile sharing. And then you have to have persistence and determination. As I said, Charles Dickens was told he didn't have a knack for the English language, and he was rejected by publishers in 19th century England. So you have to have persistent determination and a commitment that what you're doing is worthwhile.
Thank you, Jack.
Thank you.
That was great.
Thank you.
That was